Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, so I will be showing how to make this stylized fire thingy. Oh, I'm revealing all my secrets already. Shouldn't be doing that. Just hide those. I made this as a quick test thingy because some people on Discord said that. So I will now be showing how to do that, basically. I did this in Eevee, but it would probably be better to do in cycles because of like I cheated a bunch with the lighting, as you can see with like these are actually the lights. They are moving up and down a bit to create the illusion of like fire flickering, and also this is like their brightness. They flicker a bit in brightness as well. I just quickly made a new collection scene thingy, whatever you want to call it. What I did first, I added a circle, went into edit mode, and then did a grid fill. The grid fill makes it like nice topology and stuff. The only thing that pisses me off is that it doesn't align it automatically, and I don't know like the correct alignment for like how to get it precise, but it doesn't matter, but it just pisses me off. So now we have a flat disk. So what I did then is I added a particle system, and if I play this now, I'm doing this at 60 FPS by the way, that's why they seem to be moving quite fast. If Blender normally is set to like 24 FPS or something, it would be much slower. What I did then is I turned the physics, or not the physics, the field weights, I turned the gravity down. That way they rise up because it has velocity. It has like a value that emits it from the normal. So the normal of this object is facing up, and it emits it at 1 meter per second. So the thing now is that it moves up, and I wanted it to feel more like fire. So if you have a fire, like this is the outer circle of a campfire or something, it would be more like a cone shape. There probably are multiple ways of doing that, but the way I did it is I grabbed the inner circle, put on the proportional editing by hitting O on the keyboard, and moved it down like slightly, like 0.1 or something. So as you can see, that pushes it in a cone, like a little bit more. 0.1 again. So as you can see now, it moves up in more like a cone shape, like a fire. But they all die at the top at the same time, so that looks kind of weird. The way to do that is like very easy. Just select the lifetime randomness and they die off a bit. Also increase this a little bit so they go up a small bit higher. It still looks a bit too uniform for my liking though. The bloom in Eevee is a bit too overwhelming for now. Yep, thank you. But it's too uniform still, so what I did as well was give it a bit of a... Oh, I'm cranking the wrong value now. I gave it a little bit of a random amount, like 0.2 is probably fine. You can see it still goes up in mostly a cone shape, but there are some floating off to the sides a bit. But now they are still like very sad dots, kind of. And the way I did it in the example, I had cubes. So I had a cube. I move it to the side a bit so we don't have to deal with it that much. Actually, I made 3 cubes. I made 3 cubes because normally fire kind of has like a yeah, it starts darker and then becomes lighter at the edges, but I felt like that was a bit too much to do for my small little example, so I just made 3 cubes, gave it a very nice, just easy. I would never use this kind of material, only diffuse shader thingy. And then this one gets the other one. So I gave them these colors. As you can see, it's kind of like a mix between an emission and a BSDF, and that's mostly because like Eevee doesn't support anything besides point lighting because it is not a ray tracing engine, but like a what's it called, rasterizing engine. So that way it cannot deal with meshes as lamps. but it can still give like, if I plug in this emission only, it can still get like this shadeless feel, so you can't see this corner anymore, stuff like that. So that's why I mixed them, because then you can dial in like how much of the flat type of shading you want. And then for these 3 cubes, I just quickly gave them a little bit of a bevel. I don't know how much I did, something like this. I had all 3 of those very nice cubes. I added them to a collection. I already have one, so I make, I'll give it another name. Fire Cubes Tutorial Thingy. Very nice naming is going on here. So that way, if we go into the properties of the particle settings, we can, under render, instead of render as a halo, what it's doing now, we can set it to collection and then set it to Fire Cube Tutorial Thingy, which is the one we made out of these 3. And now you can see it emits all these nice cubes. But it still looks too uniform for my liking. I mean, if this is what you're going for, great, then you can call it done there. But I wanted to add some rotation. So now you can see it emits, it applies the rotation according to the normal of the object. So because these edges are angled, you can see the cubes are, if I stop this, these cubes are angled at the same thingy as the curvature, if that makes any sense. I don't know how to say that otherwise, but I wanted to give it a little bit of a randomness, because fire is like really random. If you look at reference photos and pictures and videos, probably videos. So I randomized it a bit. This looks fine to me. And then also make it dynamic. So that way, oh yeah, sure, crank this one. Crank this one. I cranked the wrong number. So if you crank that one, you can see they are now turning in midair. So the rotation can change over time. So if I set this to like 80, you can see they go nuts. They go so fast you can't even see them turn anymore. So 4. You see, these are nice turning cubes. I will put them at 2, and we'll mess a bit with the randomize thingy for the emission, because now with the cubes, yeah, this looks more like it. Yeah, like I said, for the shader, I mixed it with an emission in the other one, so you can see it in the viewport that it looks kind of shadeless. But I don't know, I can switch over to cycles and see if that changes anything in the way they work. Yeah, then they really do emit light, and that probably looks a lot better. Normally I would use that because I like cycles a lot, and I haven't done that much with Eevee to like completely understand how it works yet. But also because like this was just a random test thingy to see if I could quickly come up with a way to make this stylized fire. So I would spend a little bit more time in cycles just looking at that. But for now, because I did it with Eevee, I had to cheat a bit with lighting, so I just added a point and moved it in the center a bit. Then I added, oh, yeah, then you can see it's too bright. But like, give it a bit of a fiery glow, and then turn the brightness down and back up again, and see how you like it. Make it flicker, like stuff like that. It should be nice. You can mess with that. You can mess with the position. That gives a nice fiery feel as well, like flickering. I did that just by animating one keyframe and adding a randomized thingy with the modifier, which are not available if you don't have keyframes, but I'm sure you can figure out how those work. Then I added smoke, of course, because you can't have a fire without smoke. So the way I did that was just like, I copied one of these cubes, I gave it another material, which is just a black diffuse thingy without the emission, I went to the particle settings, made a new particle system, added the old one, like the exact same one, so you can see it's doing anything right now. Click the little 2 to make a unique copy, so you can have like different settings on them. And I changed the collection to just an object, and then you can select this object. So now it has 2 particle systems with the exact same settings. So if you just do this, it would already give it a nice mixed feeling. I changed the seed over there, by the way. But for my liking, the smoke was a bit too thick right now. So what I did, I scaled it down like a bunch. So there were smaller particles. Oh, that's a bit too much. Can't remember the exact settings. Oh yeah, scale randomness is something I did a lot as well. You can play with the randomness of everything, which gives it a nice feel. But I also didn't want the smoke to go in the cone as well, because normally smoke gets just propelled upwards by the heat of the fire, so it goes straight up from wherever it goes. So the way I did that was, instead of applying the speed from the normal, just set that to 0 and it just emits out of nowhere, and gave it a value on the Z axis, so it goes straight up. So give it a value of 1 or something, I don't know. Now you can see it kind of spreads outward, which is not what I wanted as well. So I gave it a little bit of only upward, and then also a little bit of normal, so it just cancels each other out a bit and goes somewhat straight up. Something like that. And then I increased the amount to a little bit more. What I also did for the smoke one is I increased the lifetime a little bit, because I thought like smoke will rise a bit higher from the fire and stuff like that. Just do this for a bit. Yeah, and then decrease the amount slightly again. Yeah. And now I'd say there's a kind of a good mix between fire and smoke particles. So yeah, then for the visuals itself, added a ground plane, scaled it up a bit. Scaling for some reason doesn't work all that well. I think I have a broken beta build somehow. But yeah, I hit the emitter underneath the floor. But yeah, for the visuals itself, I just made like a very simple log just by doing this. Why are my hotkeys not working? I'm rotating, right? Why can't I do that? Everything is broken. I can do it in edit mode. Well, sure, I'll do it in edit mode. But like, make a bit of a log. Oh. Do this, make a log, you know, place a bunch of them around in like a campfire setting, stuff like that. Stuff is broken. Okay, I think I messed up Blender somehow, but you get the idea. Just create a campfire thing, and then you end up with a little bit of something like this. So hopefully that was somewhat helpful, and you can have an idea of stuff you can do with particles, or make something else with this exact technique, or improve on it, or make it like your own style or something like that. It's been fun trying to figure this out like really quick yesterday. So if you have any more questions, you can ask them. And for now, thank you for watching, and bye.